4 letters, 1 word, hot garbage. That's exactly what Raw is, man. I don't even feel like talking about this flaming dumpster of an episode. AJ Lee shows up. Cool. The show still sucks. So no matter who they drag out there, the product is still trash. And before we even start, let me say this. Your boy Wrestling Worm's got a little cough, so if my voice cracks or I cough during this rant, that's why. But trust me, this show was already sick. Sick with boredom. Now, what happened on Raw tonight? Absolutely nothing, as usual. The only somewhat interesting thing was AJ Styles shooting during a commercial break. Yeah, only the international crowd saw it live. I've got the footage, DM me if you want it, because I'm not sure I can even post it here without copyright ninjas coming for me. I'll break that down later, but first, let's look at this hot mess of a first segment. Outside of AJ Lee, Rollins, Punk, and Becky Lynch doing their thing, what else happened? Nothing. Nobody cares. Let's be real here. The Usos came out, oh boy, yeet party again. They yeeted, then yeeted some more, then they hit us with a one more time yeet. Then, shocker, they grabbed a mic to remind us they're in the city. Groundbreaking content, WWE. Truly cutting-edge television. And then Braun Breaker stumbles out. Botches on the mic again. He did it last week. He did it this week. He'll do it next week. This dude cannot cut a live promo to save his life. He messes up a line, freezes, and then what does he do? He starts screaming and barking like a dog to cover it up. That's the strategy. WWE wants this guy to be the next Cena, the next Roman. The face of the company, bro, this is comedy, not wrestling. And here's the bigger problem. WWE has no young stars. None. Zero. Triple H has failed miserably at building the future. The only exciting moments now are when a 40 to 50-year-old legend dusts off the boots and comes back for nostalgia pops. CM Punk's almost 50. AJ Styles is almost 50. AJ Lee hasn't wrestled in a decade. Nikki Bella's back out here. Like, are we serious right now? Nothing wrong with veterans, but where are the new stars that can get the crowd hyped like the old guard? They don't exist. And the few new names they try to push, nobody cares. Roxanne Perez walks out, nobody reacts. Bronson Reed shows up, crickets. Braun Breaker, people are laughing, not cheering. This is embarrassing. We're in 2025 watching Monday Night Raw, and the whole show is carried by nostalgia and desperate remember this moments. WWE isn't building stars, they're recycling fossils. That's the sad truth. So yeah, nothing happened on this show. Nothing worth watching, nothing worth remembering. Just another trash episode in the endless pile of trash episodes. You know what's wild? At least when Roman Reigns first broke away from the Shield and went solo as a babyface, he actually had big feuds, big matches, and even delivered in the WrestleMania 31 main event against Brock Lesnar. That was memorable. Compare that to Braun Breaker. And you gotta ask, how in the world is this dude supposed to be the next big thing? Sure, he's had a few decent matches sprinkled there, but nothing legendary. His promos, trash. Garbage. Not one good live promo since he hit the main roster. You tell me how that's the future. Spoiler, it's not. Then we get Bronson Reed waddling out, yelling, "Acknowledge your tribal thief," or whatever nonsense. Meanwhile, the Usos start doing what they do best, roasting people. And I'll give them credit, that was funny. They called Paul Heyman everything but his government name. Idiot, dummy, you name it. Watching them clown Bronson and Braun was the highlight of the segment. And then LA Knight shows up. Because of course he does. Man's got nothing better to do than wander out every week just to swing fists at random dudes. Next thing you know, surprise, it's brawl time. Again, for like the 15th straight week. You could set your watch to these boring, recycled end with a brawl segments. So everyone's fighting, same old, same old. And once again, LA Knight and Jey Uso are butting heads. For what? Who knows? Nobody cares. They scrap, they stall, then they disappear back into irrelevance. Now the juicy part, AJ Styles. During the commercial break, my guy cuts a promo you weren't even supposed to hear. He literally says, "Someone doesn't want me here. I'll let you guess who." Gee, I wonder. Could it be Triple Fraud himself? Hunter Hearst Helmsley? Captain Can't Book a Star to Save His Life? And listen, I don't care if it was a work or a shoot. What AJ said was facts. Dude couldn't even get booked on the Clash in Paris card, even though he's beloved in France. Instead, he gets left off, then jobbed out on Raw the very next night. That's disgusting, especially when Styles is in the twilight of his career. Show the man some respect. Even AJ's own kid went on Instagram complaining about the booking. When your child is calling out the company, you know you've screwed up. And he was right. Losing to Dominic Mysterio again? Ridiculous. Styles should be celebrated, not humiliated. At least Styles got a W later in the night against El Grande Americano with a slick Styles clash. That was dope. But the fact remains, AJ Styles buried Triple H on the mic, and honestly, he deserved it. Triple Fraud got exposed. Next up, we had Lyra Valkyria versus Raquel Rodriguez. And let's be real, nobody gave a damn. The only saving grace? Raquel was finally booked like the powerhouse heel she should have been all along. She crushed Valkyria with a big Tejada bomb and actually looked dominant. Good. That's what she should be doing, not losing to mid-carders for no reason. For once, Triple H actually booked her right. Credit where it's due, but that's rare. And finally, the main event moment. AJ Lee returns. The roof came off the building. Massive pop. People losing their minds. She comes out rocking Becky Lynch's Intercontinental title, cuts her promo, and gets real with the fans. She talks about why she had to step away, mental health, therapy, finding herself, all that real life stuff. And the crowd, they start chanting, "Therapy, therapy." I'm sitting there like, only in wrestling will you get an arena full of grown adults chanting therapy at the top of their lungs. But hey, it worked. The people love AJ Lee, and honestly, it was the most genuine, heartfelt moment of the night. Man, these crowds are straight up robots, total NPCs. They'll chant for literally anything. During the Usos promo earlier, they're out there chanting Roman Reigns over and over like glitching video game characters. Bro, you're bots, admit it. Anyway, AJ Lee gets on the mic and explains that she was happy in retirement. She wrote her book, found herself, lived her best life, until Becky Lynch had to go full troll mode. Becky basically rubbed her face in CM Punk's face, motorboated her husband on live TV, and AJ Lee was like, all right, bet, retirement's over, gloves are off. Then Becky comes out with the same cookie-cutter promo she's been copy-pasting for years. Sports Illustrated says I'm the best. Not just me, Sports Illustrated too. Yeah, Becky, we get it. She takes cheap shots at the city, tells the local crowd they suck, rinse and repeat. AJ Lee fires back with, if you're the GOAT and want the belt, then come and take it. Becky says, nope, I've got a black eye from your SmackDown beatdown. Then she calls for her hot husband, Seth Rollins. Seth struts out, cuts his usual promo, and drops the bomb. This is my show. These are my people. I'm the champ, and we're getting that belt back. AJ Lee stands her ground. CM Punk sneaks in from behind, beats Rollins down, and goes for a GTS. Rollins and Becky tuck tail and run. Then AJ Lee proposes a mixed tag at WrestlePalooza, her and Punk versus Becky and Seth. And guess what? Rollins agrees. Cool setup, right? Wrong. Here's the problem. They're wrestling for nothing. If Punk pins Rollins, what happens? Punk versus Rollins Part 8 for the world title? Kill me now. If AJ Lee pins Becky, does she win some meaningless belt just because? If Rollins pins Punk, what's the point of bringing Punk back? If Becky pins AJ Lee, what was the point of her return? No matter how you spin this, it's predictable. Punk and AJ win, feud drags on, rinse, repeat. Look, I'll admit, AJ Lee versus Becky could be fire if it actually goes somewhere, but this Punk versus Rollins feud? Bury it already. End it. Punk either wins the title or goes fishing because this endless cycle is exhausting. And don't even get me started on the Vision. Worst faction ever. Rollins doesn't need Paul Heyman, doesn't need the Brunsons, doesn't need anyone. Paul Heyman got choked out by Roman Reigns months ago and hasn't even been mentioned since. The Brunsons haven't interacted with Seth since, what, SummerSlam? What does this group even do? How are they helping anyone? They're not. It's useless filler. Triple Fraud cooked up one of the dumbest groups of all time. Then we move to Penta versus Rusev. Rusev wins because reasons. New Day interferes, business as usual, nothing worth wasting breath on. But listen, your boy Wrestling Worm is still out here thugging through this with a cough because I love y'all too much to quit. Anyway, Rusev's win apparently puts him in line for an Intercontinental title shot against Dominic Mysterio. Yay, can't wait for that snooze fest. And after that, Nikki Bella versus Asuka. I only saw the highlights, but guess what? Nikki Bella got squashed. Asuka did her thing, Nikki went home. End of story. All right, so let me try to piece this circus together. Backstage, we had Rhea Ripley, Nikki Bella, Asuka, and Kairi Sane. And at this point, I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. Nikki, Ricky, Licky. whatever. Names are getting botched worse than Braun Breaker on live TV. Anyway, Rhea basically walks up to Asuka like, do we got a problem? Because if we do, I'm still the champ. I never lost. And that's it. Riveting television. Earlier in the night, Io Sky was supposed to have a segment with Stephanie whatever. But Stephanie didn't even show up. And honestly, what does she even do at this point? She barely wrestles, never cuts promos, just pops up once every 3 weeks to have a good match and disappear. She's like a guest star who forgot she's on payroll. Meanwhile, Rhea and Asuka are still stuck in this forever feud that'll probably end in a random Raw match no one remembers a week later. Thrilling. Now let's talk about the ending. Surprise, surprise. It ends with another giant brawl. Same exact way Raw has ended for the last 2 months. Usos, Brunson, rinse and repeat. But I'll admit there was one decent twist. Jimmy Uso comes out to help LA Knight, then Jey Uso comes out too. And just when you think they're all buddy-buddy, Jey spears LA Knight out of nowhere. I'll give them this. That actually shocked me. And the best part? It tied back to that little Roman Reigns pep talk from before Clash in Paris. Don't always watch everyone else. Sometimes you gotta watch out for yourself. Finally, some continuity. I was like, okay, WWE, I see you dusting off the storytelling playbook for once. So credit where it's due. Triple H actually booked that ending well. Same for the AJ Lee, Punk, Rollins, and Becky segment. It wasn't amazing, but AJ Lee's energy helped carry it, and there were a few entertaining moments. But let's not get it twisted. The rest of this show? Straight garbage. Same old formula, same old filler. 1 or 2 halfway decent moments buried under 2 hours and 55 minutes of nonsense. Final rating, 3 out of 10. Trash with a side of, that wasn't terrible. Anyway, that's my rant. Drop your thoughts in the comments because Wrestling Worm thugged it out through this garbage episode just for you. Appreciate y'all as always. Peace out, one love, and have a phenomenal day.